Hi, I'm Rachel, and this is my page 112 tag for March 2024. So the page 112 tag was brought to BookTube by Sean at Sean the Book Maniac. This tag is based off of a French literary prize wherein they comprised the long list of said prize solely by reading page 112 of the novels in contention. And in most novels, page 112 is meant to be somewhere past all the polished edited pages for editors, and where you get to the raw, real writing. And also, without the context of the rest of the story, the only thing you can judge that page on is the quality of the writing. So I've been playing this tag monthly since the beginning of COVID. I take this handy-dandy books and cats mug that's filled with pieces of paper, and I draw 3 pieces of paper out of the mug. These pieces of paper are physical unread books on my shelves that I acquired in 2023 or before. So what I do is I pick out the 3 pieces of paper and I read and discuss the page 112s with you, and then pick one of those books to join my month's TBR. Or at least that's what I do most months of the year. Every 4th month I kind of scramble things up, and I take the runners-up from the past 3 months and pit them against each other, and then choose from them what book will join my month's TBR. It's a fun way to do a little less post-production, since a lot of these clips now are already pre-made, and give these books another go. So I hope you join me, and without further ado, let's go back in time. But being in a body was some fragile bullshit he'd have to tolerate forever. Being in a body that could get broken, with a mind that could get hurt, with a face that got spat on and talked down to. The living room was empty, as he'd expected. The TV was still on, playing a western, so he turned it off. He thought about cleaning the room and then realized that he wasn't going fast enough. He had places to be, and he wasn't trying to spend his whole day pretending like his mom wasn't constantly betraying him. Caleb still called her Moms, but Erin gave up on calling her anything. It had always been something about her, the way she treated him. She liked Caleb more because they could talk about math and books and whatever else Caleb gave a shit about in school. Every time she found a cigarette in the house or weed, it was always Erin's fault right away, even the times it was Caleb's. And since Erin had grown this past year, she always walked at a little distance from him when they went out. She hugged him softer and looser, too. And there was a weird stiff way she moved whenever she had to lift him when he was little, like she was lifting something too heavy for her to carry. Plus, the things she didn't make any sense. She had a big, wide forehead and bright, always open eyes, and when they were really little, she smiled a lot and told them to believe that everything in the world was going to work out fine for them. Who believed that? She would tell Caleb when he got another A or found $10 on the ground outside the building, or got kissed by a girl at school, that he got lucky and that there was a pattern to everything and he was being watched out for. Not God, she always said. We don't believe in that religious nonsense. We're not like other people. But weren't they just like other people when they replaced God with something watching out for you? And that something clearly hated Erin from the start, because the only people who had his back were Andre and a few other guys, maybe Meech's if she liked the tapes he gave her. Then Erin remembered the watch. He went back to their bedroom where Caleb was already snoring again. Caleb had wanted to get her something nice for her birthday, for once, rather than the usual Bisquick for breakfast handmade card thing he and Erin sort of did every year. He wanted to get her a Casio, which Erin thought was ridiculous, but Caleb was obsessed with it, tearing out the pages of a bunch of nerd magazines and storing them under his bed. He even went into the store in Tower City, and the guy told him he was only allowed to use 1 coupon per purchase. Okay, this one I think is a little bit of a tricky one. I like what's going on. The action I think is compelling. You know, family drama is always pretty compelling to me, and we quite obviously have a son in this book who is resentful of his mother. He thinks his mother, treats him unfairly and differently, especially than his brother Caleb. So, like, it's not only that she treats him unfairly, but that she treats his brother better. And that's, catnip for me, this sort of, backdrop. And I felt like the writing was pretty decent, but it was almost entirely exposition. Nothing was happening in the present in the story other than, I think, Caleb turning off the television and going into their room where Aaron was sleeping. I think I might have gotten the boys' names mixed up there, but anyway. So yeah, I mean, there's just not a lot, present plot action to compel us, and I wish that there was a little more breakup between all of Aaron's resentful thoughts and things happening in the present. I think there's a hint that he's going to mess with this birthday present, although on reread, I'm not quite sure the birthday present is for the mom or maybe for this Meech's character. I'm not quite sure. But I think it's an interesting setup for a character. I like it, but I don't think, I wish this page were a little more varied. "That was a long time ago," she whispers. "Forget about it now. None of it matters. Forget about possession. I don't believe in it. When I die, I'm leaving everything to the spiritual house." "Of course it matters," Dagao insists, ignoring the thought that she might die. "It matters to you. You set us an example. I remember everything." Winnie shuts her eyes. "I'll get James," Dagao mutters. He's been calling James all night, but James hasn't picked up. He presses his fiery lips against her forehead. He leaves her room and makes his way down the dim corridor of colorless light. James is nowhere to be found. Corey Chen is now talking to Mary Wah and Fang. Leo is entertaining Ken Fan and the Chins. Leo is cheerful again, because even Winnie's grave illness can't long shake his unwavering self-dedication. Dagao can't bear to confront his father again. Still, he can't turn away. There's a smile playing around Leo's mouth. He's saying, "No need to worry about her. She'll find another job. If she needs help, she only has to come to me and ask." Who is he talking about? Is it Olan? Is it Lulu? Or is it the only other female employee could possibly be? Surely it cannot be. Leo turns to him, eyes bright with anticipation and a kind of hunger. "How's your mother?" he asks. "Is she happy now, after dragging us out here in the middle of the night just to get a little attention?" Dagao struggles against the lightheadedness of sudden fury. "Shut up," he manages. "You have no right." Leo sniggers. "Look at you, tears in your eyes." "You're the one who put her here." His voice shakes. "You couldn't help tracking your shit into her temple. Even there you have to torment her." "Mama's boy," Leo sneers, his face grotesque and knowing. Something shatters in Dagao's mind. He lunges at his father, fingers reaching for his windpipe. "You deserve to die! I hate you! I'm going to kill you!" So, whoa! There's a lot going on in this page. One of the things that usually happens when I read pages like this twice is it's a little easier for me to get the second time around. Part of the reason for that, I suppose, is, when you first heard Leo's name, I wouldn't put him together with the father of Dagao, who's kind of our, main character of the page. But that was more in my head the second time. But yeah, we're in a situation that's very, like, en media res. We have this character, it seems like it's Winnie, Dagao's mother, who seems to be sick, and going off of the dialogue in the page, a lot of people have gathered because of this sickness for whatever reason. And Dagao is just trying to, it seems like, make sense of it. But it's difficult to get into at first because there's just a lot of names and a lot of people crowding the stage, and you don't know who's who, especially when you start with pronouns and then move to proper names and all of that. But yeah, certainly in terms of what, stands out to me most on the page is this, angry interaction between father and son, and just what an asshole the father seems to be. He doesn't seem to care about his wife or former wife or mother of his children at all. And is just sort of, a selfish, horrible person, at least in this situation and in Dagao's estimation. So, yeah, And what a time for an intense encounter when the mother might be sick and things might be in a really bad situation. So on second read, I am definitely more like into the story than I was the first time when I was just trying to say, wait, who is everybody? And just trying to get my bearings. As before, it was not a gesture that went unnoticed. Cornell, like other institutions of its ilk and pedigree, was inclined to smile upon the children of its alumni. And if Lewin's and Sally's test scores were not among the finest of those applying seniors in Walden's class of 2000, then, well, test scores weren't everything. Cornell had even made an informal inquiry to Walden's principled team of college counselors as to the inclinations of the third triplet, Harrison Oppenheimer, which seemed only right, but Harrison Oppenheimer, by then, had his sights set on a place neither of his parents had ever heard of, and where no Oppenheimer, nor anyone known to the Oppenheimers, nor indeed any graduate of the Walden School, had hitherto set foot. Accepted to that very much under-the-radar institution, and, more or less concurrently, to the somewhat less obscure Harvard University, where he would transfer in due course, Harrison had spent the remainder of his senior year in his bedroom with the door shut, furiously reading and waiting for the clock of his childhood to run out. Sally did not fully process the reality of Ithaca's location in central New York State, nor its true distance from New York City, until, in a painfully self-conscious enactment of the paternal ritual, Salo and Johanna booked a van and driver to transport the new Cornellians and their boxes of bedding and dorm accoutrements upstate. Both kids were subdued, though Salo did manage a breakthrough of sorts when he attempted, in his tuneless voice, to teach them the school song, first in its parodic version. And I actually did a little research, and I might have the melody down. I guess we'll have to see. High above Cayuga's waters, there's an awful smell. 20,000 sons of bitches call themselves Cornell. Ugh, said Lewin, who had long endured certain concerns about his own personal hygiene. Well, it's better than the original, said Salo. Far above Cayuga's waters, with its waves of blue, stands our noble alma mater, glorious to view. I gotta say, that was fun to end on, and that melody reminds me immediately of Dirty Dancing, the movie, so that made it even more appealing. And I did enjoy this page a bit. I guess, you know, in terms of subject matter, where I'm biased and where I'm not biased, this upper crust snobbery can be pretty fun, especially in a sprawling book that I believe is very much about a family epic. Although the writing, I think, was a bit formal, like strangely formal, especially for a story set in 2000s with teenagers of the time, which made it kind of endearing, but at the same time, I don't know, a little distant, and there was a lot more exposition in this one than the other two. So it wasn't quite as approachable, I think, in terms of how page 112 tags go. But at the same time, you know, I'm just immediately taken in by, you know, kids going off to college and what's going to happen to them and what's going to happen to Harrison, the third triplet, and where he's going to go for a while, which we'll probably get to later in this. But yeah, I mean, I'm definitely intrigued. And we're back. I think that's a new sound effect I use to come back to the present, but I'm running out of ideas sometimes. But anyway, to recap, my December book was The Come Down by Raphael Frumkin. My January book was The Family Chow by Lan Samantha Chang. And my February book was The Latecomer by Jean Hanf Corlitz. And out of these three books, I think I'm going to go with The Family Chow. I liked all of these page 112s. There's lots of juicy different types of family trauma in each of them. But with the other two, I talked a bit about feeling a little distant, or there's too much exposition. Whereas in this book, I think I was drawn in a lot more easily, maybe perhaps with that spicy ending. But I mean, even with all of the random names and associations in the beginning, I feel like ultimately within the page, things calm down rather quickly to center on a specific protagonist and his issues. And yeah, I was immediately intrigued by this son who seems caught between a mother who is in medical danger and a father he seems to despise. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and see where this story ends up. So that about covers it for me now. You can find Goodreads links for all 3 of these books linked down below, as well as a playlist for all of my TBR game videos. I play this page 112 tag monthly, and then I play the BookTube spin quarterly. Another thing I like to do in these outros is to shout out a booktuber who's involved in a TBR game or a readathon of some sort. It's my way of being involved in the community and taking part in spontaneous reading, which I really love this tag for. And this month I'm going to shout out Just Allie and the Bookworm board game. This is a board game that she made up. It's one of those board games where you move a token across the board, and like each square, like you answered prompts for, and she picks books off of her book truck. It's a really pretty, cutesy pink board game, which I really appreciate. I especially like the homemade looking ones. I mean, there's something impressive about people who go all in to like make a laminated game with that looks company made, but the homemade ones have that more folksy BookTube feel to them. So that's what I like seeing with her game, and I will link to her videos down below. And I should be back on this channel in the next few days to do my first mock reads video, which is kind of sort of my answer to the Goodreads Choice Awards, and I start these videos early to push myself into reading a tiny bit of front list per year. So I think I'll start with my literary books list I hope to be pulling from this year, so stay tuned for that. In the meantime, I hope you're having a wonderful start to March, and thanks so much for watching, everyone. I'll see you next time.